This question comes from I Love Ish, big Ish Smith stan, I guess, right here. Let me start off by saying I'm in agreement with you guys that I am not believing in the Will Levis hype, but I feel like he is getting way more love than Anthony Richardson. When I think of the two, I feel like both players will be drafted because of potential. In my opinion, Richardson is a better runner and has a more live arm. So why do you guys think draft analysts like Levis more?
I don't think Richardson has a more live arm than Will Levis.
Really?
Really. I think he could throw it hard. I don't think he's got a better arm than Will Levis. I don't think this is a weird thing because it's I'm not super high on either of them where they are right now, which is what kind of makes it a good question and a difficult evaluation because you're kind of just looking at two molds of clay right now. But Will Levis was really hard to judge this year because that offensive line sucked. And he had absolutely nothing to work with back there. And he was under pressure immediately and in scramble mode. But when Will Levis gets time, I get it. Anthony Richardson has not had, I haven't seen enough. Anthony Richardson does some amazing stuff. I haven't seen Anthony Richardson do the basic stuff enough to really have a ton of faith in him. Like, I think if you're drafting Anthony Richardson, he's got a ton of potential. I just think it's going to take about 2 to 3 years to really tap into it still. And you're not going to get that. You know, it's the only way he's going to learn is by playing. I don't know how many NFL teams are going to be wanting him to play for 2 to 3 years because then it's going to be somebody else coaching him when he's finally figured it out.
I've seen both these guys throw in person. And so I was like, I don't know who necessarily throws it harder, but they both have a ton of juice. They have so much arm strength that at a certain point, I'm not really sure it matters, right? It's like, okay, this guy's an A and he's an A+ arm strength wise. They can both make all the throws. They can make all the throws even when they're not balanced in the pocket. They can make most of the throws without really stepping into it. I would compare it baseball wise. Levis is more of a dude who clearly has a lot of good pitches, and why doesn't he strike more guys out? And can we work with him to do this? Richardson is like a more raw pitching prospect. It's like, well, he throws 99, he flashes the slider. You know, he's just Tom Nail. He's like not as far along in his development. And to the offensive line point, Florida had one of the best offensive lines in college football this year. I mean, they have 2 draft prospects and 2 more kids who hit the portal and are going to be highly coveted. So they're both really, really toolsy prospects. I just don't know. I think Levis is further ahead.
I mean, first of all, he's got a lot more game film and better game film. You know, I wouldn't put his film up there with Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Those guys have really good film, especially Stroud with the game against Georgia. I think with Anthony Richardson, you might have to cater the offense to his skill set because he is such a dynamic runner, which is a trend. A lot NFL teams are starting to embrace it more, which is why we're even talking a buzz about Anthony Richardson because I think he's more physically gifted in totality. But I also think Levis, you've got a little bit of a floor there where you could say, all right, because maybe it's too harsh. I think he's closer to Mitch Trubisky than he is to Josh Allen. But Trubisky wasn't bad. Like, he wasn't the answer, but he was like serviceable. He went out. I think if Richardson misses, it could be bad. Like bust, doesn't, just doesn't work out at all. And I think with Levis, there's a safety net there a little bit. Also, and I haven't met either one of these kids. I'm sure they're both great kids, but Levis, I think, is going to interview off the charts. And he's got a degree with a 4.0. Like, he's got a lot of intangibles.
The Mayo thing is weird.
What's that?
The Mayo thing is weird. I don't know. That's a strike on my scouting report.
I agree. I agree. But Patrick Mahomes likes ketchup on his eggs, which caught a lot of heat. But we found that after, thank goodness, or he might have dropped to the second round.
Is there a correlation between terrible food takes and being a great quarterback? What if
maybe? Although I like ketchup on my eggs too, so I don't know if there is.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say, like, when you're at the diner and they deliver the farmer's breakfast, it is not uncommon for ketchup to be on the table. Some people like them on the hash browns, on the potatoes, which is a little bit, more conventional than throwing them on the eggs. But if they mix up a little bit, that's okay. You you have to put in a special request at the diner when the coffee comes and you say, excuse me, could we get the mayo brought out to the table?
For
No,
my
that's-
coffee.
See, here's the thing. I'll put hot sauce on my eggs. That's fine. I don't mind the ketchup on the eggs. He puts ketchup on his steak. That is where it's like, what are we doing, bro? You're lucky you're very good because you wouldn't be playing for my team making decisions like that if you were.
Is he a steak well done kind of guy?
I don't know, but you'd think somebody from Texas would have more respect for beef. That's all I'm saying than putting ketchup on it.